don't think we give kind of drama energy, but we'll see what gossip we have for you.
That has been something that definitely didn't used to come to me naturally.
My toxic trait when I was younger was
life has already begun, so what are you waiting for?
be careful of the lifestyle creep.
It's because you're too overconsumed by what everybody else has and by what everybody else is doing.
Hi guys, welcome back. We have a very exciting day today. We are joined with Georgia.
Hello, everyone.
We're in Dubai, and I thought there's no better opportunity for us to have a sit down, girly chit chat, catch up. Obviously, I'm sure you've already seen, we've already done a case study with Georgia with her phenomenal success in high ticket sales. So this time I thought we'd do something a little bit more casual. We are going to be talking about sales, mindset, making money online, lifestyle, working in a male-dominated industry, and everything in between. We'll try and spit as much tea as possible. I don't think we give kind of drama energy, but we'll see what gossip we have for you. So yeah, let's get into it. Obviously, we're here in Dubai. This is your second time, right, in Dubai, but
Yes.
like as a woman.
As a woman
you
this
know?
time. Yes.
What do you think?
I love it. Like the energy, the abundance, the people, it's just a whole other world. Like it is a completely different world. And the first time I came here, obviously I think I said like 15, 16. I had no idea what was out there. I was so, fortunate to be able to be exposed to something like that at a young age. And I remember thinking when I was younger, like I'm going to be back here one day. So yeah, to be here now with so much having changed over the last few years, it's completely different.
It's pretty crazy. I agree. To be fair, for me, the first time I ever visited was in January when I moved here. I never saw myself coming here, but now I'm here. We were just talking about like the safety aspect, the weather, the environment. I think it really does. It's inspiring.
Yeah, 100%.
It really does.
It like allows you to see, I think, I don't want to say how the other half live, but it is a little bit like that. It's experiencing, well, we say this all the time, like what you focus your energy on is what you see, and it's what like appears in your life. And when you're not able to put yourself in situations when you're surrounded with, those types of people in that type of environment, it's very difficult to believe that it's out there and it's actually attainable for you. And then coming to somewhere like this, where you're surrounded by so much success, so much abundance and different types of energy and different ways of thinking, it just allows you, I think, to like expand what you ever thought possible for yourself, which I love.
I agree, 100%. But I also think on the other side of the coin, like we were talking about earlier, it's very easy to get warped into I need this or I need that or I need the materialistic side of things. And I've actually noticed this a lot in sales, and I call it the lifestyle creep. And I remember someone told me when I first got into sales, be careful of the lifestyle creep, because there are people who will make 10K and spend 10K.
Yeah. And
then you make 20K, you spend 20K, and or even more, and you have nothing to show for yourself. You're not building your future, and you're just focused on impressing others and buying the designer bags and trying to keep up with appearances. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. I think that, like you said there, when you do start to make more money than you had originally made before, you obviously want to start thinking that you can, explore other things, start to spend money on things. And I think that with social media these days, it can be really difficult because there are a lot of people out there who use that type of lifestyle to essentially flash it, but they make other people feel like they need to have it in order to feel fulfilled or to feel successful. And I think that when you can get into an industry like this where you can start to, you can see your income double from month to month, which doesn't happen in a normal job, like that would take people years to work towards a salary increase like that. And I think that you then have to remember that your lifestyle cannot double at the rate of your income does. Or like you said, you're going to end up a couple years down the line with nothing to show for it, and then be like, I've done all this work and made all of this money, and where is it? Like the Chanel handbag lying at the side, it's amazing, but that's not the future, right? So
100%. I totally agree. And I also think it can be quite distracting as well, especially when you're on the rise. Like, I think I was really lucky when I got into high ticket sales. There was no well, hardly any like sales influencers. Like now you go on TikTok, you go on Instagram, you look at your For You page, everyone
Yeah.
is in high ticket sales, teaching high ticket sales, living the high ticket sales lifestyle. Whereas when I got into the space, there was nobody. So there was no noise. I didn't need to try and impress or like live a fake certain life, spend my commission checks to try and show off, because I was keeping it a secret. Like no one knew that was a thing. No one knew that was possible. So I think, do you think you've struggled with that, or do you think you've blocked out the noise? Like, what's your perspective? Because I think for women watching this, it's super important that they don't do that and don't kind of get into that mindset.
Yeah, 100%. I think that to me now, even since what would it be now? It was April, May last year when I got in touch with you. So that's when I first heard properly about the industry. And I would even say from the period of time, like 6 months from then, it's become so much noisier and there's so much more going on. So I think that when I first got into it, it was still a little bit on the quiet side. It was a lot more out there, but I've definitely noticed over the last few months that you can find yourself getting sucked into things. Like you can find yourself looking at this lifestyle or looking at people talking about it in a specific way, and you can end up putting yourself in a feeling of lack because of it. Yeah. And it's really difficult because you then are working and stressing out of a form of scarcity rather than like building in a way that feels good for you, it feels aligned. And it comes back to that thing of like, you know, you really have to be able to put the blinkers on. And I think that has been something that I would say over like the last 3 to 4 months, I've completely had to shift and really zone in on that, because otherwise you end up just unhappy with what you're doing. And I think that we've got to remember that for a lot of people, like social media is a highlight reel. It's not actually what their day-to-day looks like. It's not what's going on in their mind, and it's not actually how they feel. It's the good parts of their lifestyle that you're experiencing. And you've kind of just sometimes got to remind yourself of who you are and what matters to you, and really stay zoned in and focused on, which is something I would say you have done to an absolute T for sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I try. And I think there's times where I've definitely, like we spoke about earlier, nearly been sucked into it of wanting to buy the thing or do the thing or be there or post about certain things. But I think it just comes down to your why, like your true reason why. Like, why are we working this hard? Why did we get into sales in the first place? What are we doing this for? And I think if you're starting out watching this journey, for anyone watching, like, you just have to know that in your core. Like, what is it? For me, it was to never, ever have scarcity again. Like to never look at my food shop just before I'm about to pay for it and think, gosh, like I can't afford this. Or to every time I go out with my mum, for her to be buying me things. Like, I wanted to give back to my family and to just have a comfortable lifestyle. And the luxury, I love nice things in life. I'm never going to say I don't, but it's like, at what expense? And I've sometimes caught myself doing this where I'll be working so hard, I'm actually missing out on the memories and the fun things that I should be living in the moment, because I don't want to leave work alone. And it's finding that balance, which I think you're good at, is finding that work-life balance. So talk to us about that and your mindset.
Yeah, I think that has been something that definitely didn't used to come to me naturally. But like you've said there, it is fully just reminding yourself, like, I love luxury. I will not say I don't. I love luxury stuff. I like to feel elevated in myself and in my lifestyle. And it then resonates how well I do in my work and how well 100%. I do in other aspects. But it's not the core reason for why I'm doing what I'm doing, like you said. But it is, I think what I've realized now is that, you know, you can work and work and work and work and work, and you can create so much for yourself, and you can have this success, and you can look years down the line from now and have really built yourself that abundant lifestyle that you wanted to have. But I heard something not that long ago, and it was like, life has already begun. So what are you waiting for? And it really sat me deep. in my thought at that moment, because I was like, we're all working so hard to essentially get there, but there isn't an ending. There's never an ending point. And it's like, yes, you're working hard now to create that life of abundance and lack of scarcity, or the ability to like give back to your family, but your life has already begun. So like you have to live it now, because you don't just want to work for 5-10 years and get to the other side of it and then be like, oh, that's great, you know, I have all of this now, but where did all of that time go? And you know, did I really appreciate the moments I had? Did I appreciate who I was becoming in the process of it? And I think that that has really been the biggest thing for me now, is that your life has already begun, so you might as well live it at the same time.
I think it's not waiting to do the thing until you become, like, I always used to think, like, once I'm this person, or once I've made this, or once I'm here, then I'll get to live or experience. Like, my toxic trait when I was younger was I wouldn't use my nice perfumes, or I wouldn't use my nice face masks. So I was like, they need to be saved
still.
for a special occasion, and we can't do that. We actually have to live. And then the perfect example is I saved all my nice face masks, but this was a couple of years ago, for a perfect occasion, and then I found them and they were all out of date.
Yeah, I've done that before.
and that is like the perfect example, if like a mirror held up to your face, that you can't live like that. You have to enjoy the journey. And I say this to girls in the program all the time, like, you have to enjoy the woman that you're becoming. And I wish I would have done that more. And now, like, it sounds small, it sounds like little things that I can never get back because I've surpassed. Like, I'd love to be able to drive through, like, be in the UK, go and do my food shop, go to Costa Coffee, things that I used to be like, oh, I hate doing this, like, I want to be somewhere else. I'd love to go back and do those little tasks that I wish I could do now, if that makes sense. It's kind of like a silly explanation. I was saying this to my boyfriend the other day, but like, I wish I could go back and do some things and have time off that I never have now, but you take it for granted. So you've just got to live it and enjoy the moment, whether it's not where you want to be, whether it is where you want to be, and just feel fulfilled and happy as much as you can.
100%. It's so important. And it's so funny you say that, because I used to do that all the time, like nice face masks, even outfits or anything that was for particular occasions. I would really try and savor it. And then that's what makes you realize, though, that when you do that, that is you without realizing, like, you're subconsciously acting out of a form of scarcity when you do that, because you're making it feel like there isn't an abundant amount of those nice face masks or an abundant amount of the time that you have. And I think it really allows you, like you've just said, to sit back in the moment and remember that, you know, it is all about the little moments. It really is all about the little moments, because at the end of it all, it is morbid as it is to say, like, we don't take anything else away with us. You know, we can obviously build and you know, like, my kind of dream when I'm older is like, I want to build wealth for my family. Like that is something I want to do. So, you know, that is inherently something you can pass on as a legacy, but you yourself, like, you want to get to the end of it and be like, I lived the moments, I enjoyed the person I was becoming, and I really sat and, you know, like, enjoyed life for what it was. And life is right now. Life isn't in the past, it's not in the future, it's where you currently are right now. And I think that, that's the biggest lesson I feel like I could probably pass on to anyone coming into something like this, for sure.
And what are some of your tips for living in the moment, or allowing yourself to feel grateful or feel content? Because we both have struggled with that, and we've spoken a lot about that, like chasing the future or the income or this or that. So recently, I know you've really focused on it. So what are some of your tips for people watching if they feel sad in the moment that they're in, almost, and they want to be making this much money or whatever? But they're not there yet.
I think my number one tip would be what we just spoke about previously, is block out the noise. Because the only reason you currently feel like that is because you're too overconsumed by what everybody else has and by what everybody else is doing. You're focusing on, like, what you've currently not got rather than what you already have. So for me, like, I massively will detox myself off of social media. Like, I will stop following certain people, and it's not because, you know, I don't enjoy their content or I don't want to watch it. It's more of a case of you have to become very self-aware of when you're looking at this piece of content or when you're watching somebody else's life, how is that making you feel in the moment? Is that making you feel excited and happy because you can see yourself becoming that type of person? Or is it making you feel like, oh, that's not me, or like envious or sad because you're not there yet, or, you know, you're just starting out and you're like, how am I going to get to that point, or how long is it going to take me? And at that point is checking yourself and realizing, if I don't feel good right now looking at this and it's not making me feel whole or making me feel happy, then block the noise out, because we're all individual different people and we have to stay in tuned with that and listen to like what actually makes us happy. And, you know, there's always something to be grateful for, even though we might feel like there isn't in the moment. Like there absolutely is.
And I think something that I've really done that's helped me, and I shared this with the girls on a coaching call the other day, is stop waiting, in a sense that, to feel like you deserve something, and just go and have a piece of it. So like I will always, when I can, I'll always go and take my laptop and do my work in a 5-star hotel. Now I appreciate I'm in Dubai, so they're only around the corner, and everyone lives in different places. Like when I was in the UK, that wasn't, actually there was one I used to go to that was really nice, but anyway, they're less of. But go and experience that. Pay double for your coffee and get them less and less often if you need to, but experience the luxury, experience.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, experience the vibe, if that's what you're into and if that's what you want, which I assume it is if you're watching this. It's like, if you want to be that next version of yourself, don't deprive yourself. Don't feel insecure like you don't belong. Because I know I used to walk into those places and feel insecure. Like,
this is so funny that you have just said this, because before we came in here, I literally just took a voice note and said to my team about imposter syndrome, because I was talking like over the last couple of days since coming here. I would definitely say that it's made me realize that you have to embrace imposter syndrome like there is no tomorrow. Because I still come to places like this, and even though this is, you know, the type of lifestyle I love to live, and like you said, you know, you've got to put yourself in those elevated places to feel better, it's also going to come with that feeling of like, I don't belong here, or like I'm not quite the person that should be sat in this room yet. But you're not going to become that person if you don't already embody them before you are there. And it's a difficult one. And I think that when you get into a situation like that, you can go either of two ways. You can embrace the imposter syndrome and understand that you're going to feel a bit uncomfortable until your life really starts to change, or the type of person you are starts to change. Or in that moment, that's when people let their limiting beliefs seep back in, and they let that feeling of uncomfortableness take over again. And they, you know, just go back to the person they were before, and nothing ever changes.
I think it's like that sheer confidence and determination. Like for me, I'm very matter of fact on it with like imposter syndrome. I always think, well, I am that person because I'm here. Like you're not, if you're drinking a coffee in a 5-star hotel, then you are the person who does that. That is just you because you're doing it. And that's how I think. And I think that will allow you to get out your own head if you ever feel like that. Because I've definitely had those moments and I'm like, but I am that girl because I'm here.
Even yesterday, I thought that. Like we went down to the most gorgeous place ever on Blue Waters, and we were in this like stunning restaurant, just sitting doing some work. And it's not a place I would normally take my laptop to and go and work, right? It was a very lovely restaurant, and the place was immaculate. Like it looked so good. And the part of me was sat there and I was like, who do I think I am?
But you are.
But I was like, but actually no, I am this person.
You are. Yeah.
And I am. And even if you know, are doing things like this and you're thinking in the back of your head, maybe like on a day-to-day basis, you wouldn't necessarily be able to afford that yet. And it's not something you would want to spend your money on every single day. Like that doesn't take away in the moment from the fact that you are the type of person that can enjoy those things and do those things. Yeah.
And I think it bleeds into just how you show up for yourself. Like you don't need expensive skincare to just take care of yourself every day, and just take it slow. Wash your face slow, put just like a basic moisturizer on. You are still that woman who takes care of herself. Or just putting on an outfit. It doesn't have to be a designer outfit, but just something matching, like matching pajamas. I wear matching pajamas every night because that makes me feel put together. It's just the little habits that you're doing to take care of yourself. And then when it comes to work, it's like sticking to your word, keeping your promises. You are then becoming a more elevated version of yourself because you're doing it. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do everything designer or expensive. It's just the little habits that you do every day to take care of yourself, to make yourself more confident, to be the woman who you want to be.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. And then it comes back to that whole thing again of just being in the moment of where you are. Because it's those little things like, you know, whatever you're washing your face with, whatever brand it came from, it doesn't matter. But it's how you feel in the moment of doing that. Like, are you appreciating where you are and the fact that you have the ability to do that? And, you know, just the type of person that you're becoming because you're taking care of yourself and because you're doing these small little things. That's what makes the biggest difference. And what matters to you might not matter to somebody else. Somebody else might love to spend, you know, a lot of money on their skincare because that is something that they feel matters to them. But then somebody else might like to spend a lot of money on, like we've said, like organic food and like healthier food because that's something that means a lot more to them. So it's remembering that just because somebody else is doing that doesn't mean you have to do it too.
100%. And talk to us, like we mentioned this earlier, like our rebrand. Like you and I are very different.
Yeah.
Obviously, we haven't known each other for very long, but we talk about kind of we used to be different to how we are now and how we've grown as women. So tell us about that, like your journey from becoming a girl, I guess, and figuring out your life. Obviously you went to uni, you studied law, to starting your network marketing business, to being in high ticket sales. Like how has that evolved for you?
It's been wild. That's the only way to put it. It's been the most wild ride, but at the same time, it's not panned out, you know, 100% the way I thought it was going to, but it's definitely panned out to the vision that I did see when I was younger. But it's very, very interesting. And I think that there's been a lot of moments where there's been ups and downs, 100%. It's just a given. But I think that for me, it was that, like we spoke about this, it was that sheer determination and confidence that, you know, I knew I was going to become that woman. Yeah. Like I was so set on becoming the best version of myself and elevating myself and my life to the way that I wanted to have it. And, you know, probably anyone who would have met me when I was at the start of uni or like in second year of uni now, some of them probably will be watching this because they definitely do follow me on social media, will be thinking like, who is that person? Like, I don't recognize her. I don't understand her. Like, and I didn't either. And I think that I had no idea who I was back then. You know, I was just experiencing life for the first time. I left home at 18 after school, just went straight to uni. I had no idea what to expect and I was just figuring it out along the way. But I did always have this underlying feeling that I really wanted to create something big for myself and the ability to create an impact. And I think that was always the drive there, that even when things went a little bit south or, you know, I was maybe going through periods of time where I felt like I wasn't really getting anywhere, I didn't understand what I was meant to be doing, which definitely happened between that gap of, you know, me getting towards the end of my law degree and then realizing I didn't want to do law anymore. There was a point in time where I was like, well, who am I? Like, what am I meant to do if this isn't it? And I think at that point, I really just had to remember that it wasn't necessarily about the what, but again, coming back to the just like, well, who do I want to be? And then how does my life look, you know, on the other side of that? And yeah, I think I've just really been able to take each day as it's come, each week as it's come, each year as it's come, and never really said no to anything. And I think that's the key.
Interesting. Yeah. So you've always pushed yourself, always put yourself
always pushed myself. For me, like if something scares me, I'm going to run towards it.
Me too. And I think touching back on what you said, it's like, it's never too late to change your path. Like you literally studied law.
I know. It's wild. Like, you didn't even think I'd finished.
I thought she dropped out.
I'm like, I have a first class degree over here. Thank you.
Like it's never too late, or you can have a million setbacks. Like for me, I was like crazy embarrassed when I poured my heart and soul into this business I did.
Yeah, of course.
I told everyone that this was going to be the thing. And I was all talk at the time because I've really changed now. And it's never too late to pivot and do something else.
Yeah, 100%.
And who cares what anyone says? Like, you've just got to block out the noise and do what you feel's right. So even if you're maybe living in an environment, you're living at home, your friends, your family aren't exactly in alignment. You may love them, but they're not in alignment with how you want to live or what you want to do. You can still create the life that you want. It may not be overnight. It may take some time, a lot of failures, a lot of setbacks, but anything's possible if you don't stop. If you, like you said, run towards the fear and just believe in yourself, like that sheer
you've got to have that.
determination.
You have to have that sheer, I mean, don't get me wrong, like you're not going to have that belief all the time.
No.
There's many times where, I mean, just recently, like I'm sure I've messaged Shelley all the time. I'm like, Shelley, I don't know if I can do this. Like, what's going on? But it's like, that's just part of it. That is just part of life. And it's, you know, reminding yourself, like you said, if you don't give up on anything that you are doing, it is sheerly impossible for you to fail at it. And I think for me, it was just realizing I had to embrace the fear, embrace the uncomfortableness of life and not really knowing, you know, who I was or what I wanted to do, and just, you know, going for any opportunity that comes your way. Like you're always exactly where you're meant to be, and you're always being presented with what you're meant to be presented with. And it's up to you in that moment whether you decide to go for it or whether you want to be taught the same lesson over and over again.
Yeah. 100%. I couldn't agree more. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, and that feels so annoying to hear when you don't want to hear it.
Oh yeah,
like when you don't want to hear it and you just want to be doing this, that, the other. But you have to just trust yourself, I think, wholeheartedly, and I think that's what we both do. Even I definitely have days of self-doubt where I'm like, I should be doing this, or I should be here, or la la la. But it's like, no, this is exactly perfect for you, and you're not ready for that next thing yet, otherwise you'd have it.
100%.
And like the woman that has it isn't you, and you've got to work towards and develop yourself in ways that you probably don't even know what that looks like yet to achieve.
And I think for a lot of people that can be what takes them out the game, because for some people they can become very sour about that. People can be told that reality, and they can be told, like, you know, you have created everything in your life. Your life looks the way it does right now because of what you have created and the steps that you have taken to get there. And I think sometimes when we turn that mirror back around on ourselves and we're like, you're exactly where you're meant to be. You're not the woman, you know, who has the ability to create that yet. You've got to become her. For a lot of people, that makes you want to punch a wall and run away. And it's in that moment again where you realize, okay, well, this is the point where I've got to make the decision. I either, you know, get annoyed by that, feel, you know, down about it, and kind of stay in that frequency of not attracting it and not becoming that person, or you embrace it and you turn the reflection back around on yourself and you ask the questions of, okay, well, what do I need to change? Who do I need to become? And what's the next step for me? And then you move from there.
100%. Let's talk about work-life balance, because you and I have a very different picture. We were laughing about this before we started filming, guys. I pretty much do the opposite of what you would think a successful person needs to do. Like, I don't have much.
Shelley's a red flag.
I'm actually very good at honing in and having my masculine energy and my feminine energy. Like when I'm in work mode, I am more in my masculine energy, because that is obviously as it needs to be. But I am good. I have my own mechanisms of switching and allowing myself to be feminine. And that's in the things that I do for myself and the environment that I have for myself. But I will admit, I don't have much routine. Whereas you do. So tell us about, I guess, I wouldn't even know how to articulate it. Like the day-to-day activities you do, or what you feel is important for you and your mindset to see success.
Yeah, I think the topic of work-life balance is rubbish. I do believe that. I think that there's never necessarily full balance or equilibrium in your life, because that would be boring. Like that would be boring. You wouldn't be happy. You'd be bored. It'd be mundane. But I do think that there's only a period of time where you could probably operate the way that Shelley operates on a day-to-day basis, until you do have to maybe start implementing different things. Because again, it comes back to that thing of, you know, to be in the moment and to be where you currently are, you have to be self-regulated, and your nervous system has to be regulated too. And I think that there's been a large period of my life where I have burnt myself out consistently. I've hit burnout multiple times whilst I was at uni, juggling like 3 different jobs. I remember this one day vividly, and I think I will remember it honestly until like the day I die. I used to work in a gym in the morning, and I also used to work in a restaurant in the evenings. But the gym used to start at like, I used to be there for 6 a.m. for open. So I'd be up at like 5 a.m. But most of the times the night before, I hadn't been finished or in from the restaurant until even like 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning before. And I also had a horse at uni at the time. So I had the horse to go and look after too. And I was also studying a law degree.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. So there was one day I remember I was between the 2 shifts, and I had just finished. I had finished at 1:30 the night before, got up, was in work doing the 6 o'clock shift in the gym. So probably slept maybe like 3-4 hours lucky. Worked all the way until 12. And then in the afternoon, I had to go and see to the horse. And then that evening around about 4 o'clock, I was due to go back into the restaurant shift again. And I was driving my car up to the horses, and I walked into the field to get my horse, and I cried the entire way.
Wow.
Like just pure tears, because I was so overtired. I couldn't even remember like what day it was. My brain wasn't working. I felt so disassociated from life, and I just was crying in that moment. Like I was looking at my horse, and like animals make me soppy in general, but I was looking at her and I was like, I feel terrible right now. I have no energy. My emotions are through the drain. And in that moment, I realized, I was like, okay, this is what burnout feels like. And what is life if you're just constantly working to burn yourself out? And I think over the last year and getting into sales, you know, I've gone through periods of time, even since starting sales, where you get addicted to it. You get addicted to the rush, you get addicted to the learning, and, you know, you're closing deals, it's feeling good. And then before you know it, you've sat at your desk for 12 hours a day and you've barely moved, and you're like, this isn't good. And I think definitely over the last 4 months, I've invested a lot in myself and in my own business, and got an additional like support and mentorship from other people to really understand what it means to regulate yourself, to have those practices in place. And the one thing that has made the biggest difference to me is like meditation and having a really solid morning routine. Now I'm not going to sit here and say that it's perfect and that, you know, I have it all in lock and key, because I don't. And my evening routine is something that is absolutely not in lock and key. I'm very bad sometimes for realizing that it's like 11:30 or 12 o'clock and I'm due to get up at like 5 or 6 a.m. the next morning. But there's practices now that I have implemented that if I feel myself getting into that stressed out state, or I feel myself panicking, or if I can't sit for 5 minutes and my brain doesn't switch off, I know I need to do something to regulate my nervous system. And I think that has been the biggest thing. Like in the month of November, I done a complete dopamine detox.
You did.
And it was crazy. It was crazy, but it allowed me to really see the power in tuning into yourself. Yeah. So it was like locking out, like I wasn't allowed to scroll on social media. I wasn't allowed to listen to music that had lyrics in it. Wasn't allowed to watch any form of TV. I had no sugar in my diet whatsoever. And my phone was on like black mode. So it was a grayscale mode, sorry. So I couldn't see any colors or anything to kind of like deplete the dopamine in your body. It was the most transformative month of my life. The most transformative month of my life. And I've been begging a few of the girls now in my team to really like pick a month over the next few months and just stick to it, because it allowed me to like listen to my own thoughts and to understand who I was and what, you know, I actually cared about, because I wasn't listening to all of this external noise like we've been speaking about before. But I was also so locked in on my routine, so regulated. And even though I had a lot on my plate, I felt the most at peace I have ever felt in my entire life.
Really?
Yeah.
It's super interesting, isn't it? Because I feel in a place of life that I'm in, I could never do that. Like I could do anything I put my mind to. So it's not like I couldn't do it, but I wouldn't do it, I should say instead. But I think everyone's different in the sense you've just got to find your balance almost. So like for me, my life is chaos right now. But what keeps me going is 2 things. It's how lucky am I? Like that's the mindset. I think, how lucky am I to do the job I do and to help the women I help? Like I'm just going to keep on going. Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
That the adrenaline, I think of that. And then also finding your ground, like grounding yourself. So for me, it's like as soon as I shower, skincare, PJs, okay, I'm back to like feminine me, like different me. Yeah. So I think it's finding for you, if you're watching this, like you may be very on Georgia's side of the coin where you're like, yes, like the wellness and, you know, having those really strict boundaries.
She will be meditating soon, guys.
We'll see.
I'm determined.
But you might also not be. And I think it's finding what works for you right now.
100%.
You know?
There's seasons of life. There always will be seasons of life. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think that even maybe a year from now or a couple years from now, there will be a season in my life where, you know, being on that strict routine might not work every single day, because my like business is going to be asking a lot more of me. There's going to be a lot more going on in my life. And I think it's just recognizing when you're in those seasons. But I will say that even when you're in those seasons, I think still having practices that you can come back to that ground you, even if it's doing what you've said there, you know, really coming back into that feminine side of things. But
100%.
the key is being able to ground yourself in a way where you can shut your mind off for like a certain period of time, for sure.
100%. Let's talk about sales.
Oh, yeah.
So you obviously balance your network marketing business and sales. And I think there's a lot of women who come into this saying like, can I balance both? I want to do other things. I don't want sales to be my entire life. Because I've always very much portrayed on my YouTube, sales has been my entire life. And I love that for me, but it doesn't always have to be that way. So what was your thoughts coming into sales? Like, what did you envision compared to where you are now of how your journey would go?
When I first came across it and kind of got into sales, I had already been doing my network marketing business for, I think, like a good few months before that now. So I've been exposed a little bit to the idea of what sales world was like, but nothing compared to like what high ticket sales was like or how that kind of works. And I think for me, the idea getting into it was always just to be able to supplement my income enough that didn't require me turning up to like a 9-to-5 job. It gave me the ability to have additional income and really, you know, I knew I was somebody who worked hard. So I wanted to be paid for that, right? Like I wanted to be paid for the work I was going to be putting in. And at that point, it was like, okay, I can see this more of a thing that's going to give me back the time that I would have been spending going elsewhere. But the journey of balancing both of them hasn't been easy. I wouldn't ever say that. I don't think this industry is easy by any means for anyone, whether you're just going full force down the sales path or whether you're doing this in something else. But it was for me realizing that like I wasn't looking for easy. I was looking for something that was going to give me like, you know, the lifestyle I wanted to have for myself, to become the person I wanted to become. And I think that, you know, when I first got into it, it's difficult because like it comes back to that thing of you get distracted again. You know, you come into this industry, you see people making large amounts of money per month that I had never witnessed anyone make before. And, you know, you get distracted by that, like, what's it, like shiny object syndrome again. And I think at that point I had to remind myself of what you said, you know, I'm not Shelley. Like I could follow in footpaths and, you know, really go to just funnel in on sales the way you did and get on an offer and really work to the level that you did. But then I had to check myself and be like, no, that's not the reason why I came in here.
That's not
I came in here to balance this, to give myself the freedom and the flexibility of remote work whilst building up my own business. So I really had to go through that period of realizing like, okay, this comes back to me again. And what do I want and what do I see for myself? And when you do that, there is balance there to be had for sure.
100%. Are there any sales secrets? Anything about the industry?
Sales secrets?
I was trying to think of that. I was like, are there any sales secrets? But I don't know, like anything you've experienced that you didn't expect to experience, or any weird encounters, or anything anyone should know if they want to get into the industry?
This is a difficult one. This is a difficult one because I do think that with you're a very open book. Like you don't try and portray this industry to be something that it isn't. You know, you don't talk about the fact that like, oh yeah, just close 5 deals by the pool and then you'll be like private jet in next week. Like it doesn't work like that. But is there any sales secrets? That's an interesting one. I think the one thing I will say is you will be exposed to how crazy the world is when you come into sales. That is one thing I will say. Mentally prepare yourself for the people that you are going to be talking to on a day-to-day basis. Because I have encountered some people who have told me some things that I wouldn't even tell my own mother. So I think that's not necessarily a secret of the industry though, but
something you wouldn't
more
expect.
Of just something you wouldn't expect. But there's two sides to the coin with that as well though, because I think it's, you know, one side it's crazy because you're like, how can you be speaking to strangers all over the world and, you know, they're telling you all of these crazy problems and you're trying to deal with it. And then I think the other side of the coin is quite magical and it's quite good because, you know, you're walking people through these real life problems and struggles that they've got for themselves. And just through, you know, an hour phone call, they've felt, you know, that they can open up to you enough about that. And I think that's kind of like a magical side of it. But secrets, I wouldn't say so. I think the biggest secret is just the fact that women are better than men.
They are.
They are.
It's just one of those things. And the men know it. The men know it.
They
and
hate
they're
to admit
okay.
it.
I was going to say they're okay with it. It depends who you talk to. To be fair, I've had it in my time. I've worked on some teams with some competitive men. I'm like, I'm sorry. What can we do? I'm just better than you.
Yep.
And that's okay.
Got to be more feminine.
Yeah, that's so funny because when I was managing, I had a team of like 5 guys and I was like, guys, we have to sell in our feminine energy. And there was like boxers on the team and I was like, gotta be done. But actually men can sell in their feminine energy because obviously masculine and feminine energy isn't like a male or female. It's like it's
whatever
behavior.
You embody at the time. Yeah,
100%. I love that. So let's finish on your goals. What are your goals for the remainder of the year? What are you working towards?
So this is a really interesting one because I think it comes back to everything that I was saying that I've kind of been like learning and figuring out myself over the last few months is the fact that reminding yourself of life has already begun.
Yeah.
And my biggest goal for this year is to have fun.
I love that.
Like that is genuinely my biggest goal for 2026 is to have fun, to find joy in like the little moments and to remind myself that you can work hard and you can also, like we've said, you know, give yourself the ability to enjoy the person you're becoming and enjoy those types of things. So that is honestly my number one goal for 2026 is just to have fun, really enjoy the journey and the person that I'm becoming. But my biggest goal for me is I want to scale my network marketing business. So currently right now we have around about 35 to 40 people in the team. So I would really like to be potentially even above 100 to 200 by the end of the year. So it's a big push, big goal. And then, yeah, I think that's it. And with my sales journey, like I love sales. The high ticket, the best part about it now is that high ticket sales has just become the fun part of my day. Like it has become the fun part of my day. It's the part where I just get to sit down, do something I know that I feel like I'm good at now, like I'm learning the skills. Obviously, always room for improvement, but there's no, like I'm not acting out of a form of I have to get to this goal. I have to reach this level. But yeah, 100% like consistent 10 to 15K months, easy days by the end of the year with that. But growing my business on the side of it is really the driving force for sure.
I love it. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I know everyone watching this will find so much value from this. So yeah, let us know what you think, guys, in the comments. I'll also leave a link below to Georgia's case study that we did together if you are interested in her sales journey. And I'll see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.